Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me thank you all for watching this video. Before we begin, let me introduce myself. I'm Fitri Octaviana, the student of Islamic Education Department of UIN Malang. As you can see on the screen, our topic today is Islamic education, important for early childhood students. I will begin by presenting the concept of Islamic education. Then I will continue by explaining the purpose of Islamic education. Next, I will explain the function of Islamic education. Finally, I will explain the role of Islamic education for early childhood students. My presentation will take about 15 minutes. I will conclude the discussion material in the end slide of my PowerPoint presentation. There will be time for questions after my presentation. If you have any questions, write them in the comment. Question: do your children understand Islamic education? Do your children understand their God, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala? Have they gotten used to doing good? Not childhood and important periods where they are easy to imitate others. Therefore, from an early age, let us introduce the children to Islamic education, starting from getting used to worship to education that teaches Islamic education. Today, in this discussion, we will starting from the concept, purpose, function, and importance of Islamic education for children. In this part of my presentation, I want to discuss the concept of Islamic education. Islamic education is an effort to grow, develop, supervise, and improve the full potential of human nature in an optimal, conscious, and plain manner according to Allah's laws in the universe and in the Al-Quran. In the Islamic education curriculum in public school, it is stated that religious education is a learning process to educate and develop the value of religious knowledge, so that students who have character and personality characteristics with other foundation and piety and moral value can be formed or strong character which it reflects in the overall attitudes and daily behavior. Let's move on the next point. The purpose of Islamic education. The purpose of Islamic education is in line with the purpose of human life, namely to fully devote oneself to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala as the creator of the universe. The main purpose of Islamic education is to become a human being to achieve happiness in the world and the hereafter, because religious education does not only teach religious knowledge and train skill in crying or worship, but it's most broader than that. Islam aims to shape the child personality in accordance with religious teaching. Let's move on the next point. Function of Islamic education. Number 1. Development. namely increasing the faith and devoting of students to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, which has been implied in the family environment. Basically, the obligation to instill faith and piety is done by every parent in the family. School function to further develop in children through guidance, teaching, and training so that faith and piety can develop optimal according to their level of development. Number 2, cultivation of value. As a quid for life to seek happiness in life in this world and in the hereafter. Number 3, mental adjustment, namely to adapt to the environment, both physical and social environment, and can change the environment according to the teaching of Islam. Number 4, improvement, namely to correct mistake, deficiency, and weakness of students in belief, understand, and teaching experience in everyday life. Number 5, prevention, namely to ward off negative things from the environment or from other cultures that can endanger him and hinder his development towards a whole Indonesia human being. Number 6, teaching and channeling. Teaching about religious science in general, system and function, and channeling, namely to channel children who have special talent in the field of Islam, so that this talent can develop optimally so that they can be used for themselves and for others. Let's move on the next point, the role of Islamic education for early childhood students. So much for it is important to introduce religion to children at preschool age or at the PAI and kindergarten level. In early childhood education, education and parents have a role to stimulate, guide, nurture, and encourage learning that will produce abilities and skill in children. For children at the PAI and kindergarten level, religious education has two main roles. The first is to develop children's belief about the religion they profess and believe in. This effort is very important, especially as a basic capital for the development of the building of the faith and Islamic student. Second, to provide a basis for faith, worship, and noble character which is developed through habituation and modeling activities. With this perspective, religious education for children in PAI and kindergarten will be the main basis for the development of children's character. Aside earlier with this situation, he continued, religious education would be more effective if it was carried out from an early age, because the process of planting and habituation would be easier for children to understand and implement. Let me briefly summarize what I have said so far. Conclude the discussion. Number 1. Islamic education is a learning process to educate and develop the value of religious knowledge, so that students will have character and personality characteristics. Next, the purpose of Islamic education is in line with the purpose of human life, namely to fully devote oneself to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Finally, with this perspective, religious education for children in PAUD and kindergarten will be the main basis for the development of children's character. Well, this brings me to end of my presentation. Thank you all for watching this video. Now I will be happy to answer any question you may have. Please write them in the comment. Thanks for watching and I wait your question. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.